It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, Gary. Happy Wednesday.
It is happy. Today is LDOC. You know that term, right?
Oh, yes. Last day of classes for all the UNC students. I know that they're excited.
I tell you, it's been a tough semester. Tougher than any semester I remember.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, with all the stuff going on. But it's all ends today other than exams. And you know me, I don't give exams. So. Yes.
So, at least the students in your classes are like, whew, that's done. But they've got to worry about everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on? By the way, this is rAVe TV, our weekly TV show with Steph and Gary. And we are coming to you live on LinkedIn, ravepubs.com, Facebook, and Twitter. By the way, speaking of Twitter,
and YouTube. Before? Yo, Twitter.
Twitter, Elon Musk, man. What's the dude just fixing the problems over at Twitter by saying, you know what? You're going to ban me. You're going to censor me. I'm going to buy you, so you can't do that anymore. I love that attitude.
I don't. I kind of disagree. I think I'm probably going to delete Twitter.
I don't think... censoring people on a platform that's supposed to be open to everyone is not a good idea on any level. Everyone, in the journalism school is happy that everyone would be, you're supposed to be able to say, do and say what you want to do and say, not be censored. And he, I loved his comment the day he bought it, the day it became officially, he said, the only thing I'm going to do is ban anime emojis.
Okay.
Because he hates people that use anime profile photos. Of course he was joking.
I just think that, it depends on how you view Twitter. If a lot of people view Twitter as their news source. Mm-hmm. So Twitter on some level, if they're going to be viewed and used as a news source, has a responsibility to make sure that the news that is coming from their site is real and accurate. So I do understand that puts them in a gray area of, whether to censor or whether to not. But if you are deleting things that are proven to be false, is that censorship or is that purporting good journalism?
See, for me, I would leave it up there and put a notice with it and so that way people know, but I think that, you're more capable of judging that than me because you have a graduate degree in journalism. And I do not. And I guess I never looked at Twitter. It's interesting though. You bring up an interesting point because, as a teaching in a journalism school, and this is we'd love to hear y'all's feedback on this because I'm sure everyone has an opinion on this.
Yes.
Comment on wherever you're watching this because we'd love to see what you think. But teaching in journalism school, the first thing you see when you walk in the school is the First Amendment. They have it written on the side, which is basically saying that nothing should be censored. And a lot of people say that, just like any publication, that Twitter is a type of publication, and that, barring stuff like, and I think that's what needs to be, bring up a really good point because you have to define where the limitations are, because even though we have the right to say anything, we can't stand up in a movie theater and yell fire, right?
Right.
Because then that's, that can encourage people to get hurt and criminal behavior. And we already have a vote on your side. Dawn Stratton says she agrees with Steph. I'm excited to see Elon Musk do this though, because
yes. So the First Amendment, Gary, I think it really is made to protect things that are true, because if you are ever pulled into court over being sued over something you said or wrote, your ultimate defense is that it was true.
Yeah.
So I think that the First Amendment is kind of struggling to cover these kind of news stories that aren't real and stuff, because at the end of the day, they're not true, but they're being purported as if they were true. So all of the people in the media law classes right now at the J School, I'm really jealous of them because I know this is just so fun to study. I don't
know. I never liked media law.
I enjoyed stuff like this. This is stuff that you deal with every day. And it's cool to be able to develop an opinion on it and write about that opinion for a class. So I enjoyed media law in undergrad, and I took international media law in grad school and liked that too. So it's definitely interesting
to see. You bring up a good point too, because it'll be interesting to see, because you said you delete Twitter. you look at a platform like TikTok, right, which currently doesn't censor anything. In fact, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal recently about how TikTok is, there's a tremendous amount of porn in TikTok that
TikToks kind of get censored sometimes though, Gary. Like TikTok takes down stuff all the time.
Yeah, but they're taking it down for other reasons, right? Not
being true. Yeah.
So, but here's a platform like TikTok. In less than 4 years, it has 1 billion users. Twitter's never even gotten that many users.
Yeah.
I think they barely topped 600 million. Snap never topped 500 million. You look at LinkedIn's right at 650, 700 million. But you look at like TikTok, which is a billion, worldwide, global. It's really interesting how things have shifted so quickly. Back, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we were all on Twitter all the time. Now, people there's those Twitter people that love Twitter, and there's people that just don't care about it anymore. And it'll kind of be interesting to see if Elon turns it into a news platform, like you say, a lot of people look at it as, or if he returns it back to a social media platform, and kind of makes it more like TikTok. Not like TikTok, but like TikTok in the same category, right? Because it used to be social media, and then it became a news social platform. You're all correct about that. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be interested to see what he does with it, but I'm not gonna I don't like Elon Musk, so.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't like Elon Musk.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. You don't like him as a person.
It's not even about him as a person. I think that his policies and a lot of what he stands for, and that he wanted to solve world hunger, and he asked for a plan from the World Health Organization.
Yeah, he said he would give them all the funding they wanted if they
brought him a distinct plan, and then they brought him the plan, and he was like, no, I actually decided I don't want to solve that. So I don't know, a lot of the stories like that, I'm kind of like, okay.
I'm just impressed with his ability to pull things off. Space, sending people up into space. The first electric car company. That tunnel thing he's doing. I mean, but you're right. I mean, I don't know him as a person.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that if I had such an enormous amount of wealth, I would just try so hard to make the world a better place than I left it. So I think I'm always kind of judgmental and critical of really of the 1%, because I'm you could fix so much stuff and you just don't want to.
Speaking of fixing stuff, have you seen the We Crashed series on WeWork?
Not yet, but I know I want to now. I did eventually. I have Apple TV Plus now, so I know that.
So Jared Leto plays the founder of WeWork, and Anne Hathaway plays his wife.
Yeah,
and they together started WeWork, and actually they started this company called the We Company that included WeWork,
right?
That kind of stuff. And their mission was to solve world problems, right? And when he got kicked out, ultimately the board kicked him out because he was a little too extreme. The guy who came in to replace him, the first thing he said to the whole company is, "Our job is not to solve all the world's problems. Our job is to lease office space in office buildings to coworkers. So if there's a coworker environment, he goes, we have to have a realistic mantra here."
For sure. Yeah. But I think that there is an in between. You don't have to solve all the world's problems, and you don't have to just lease office space. There should be something in the middle.
There should. It's a great document. It's not even a documentary. It's like a docudrama series. It's great. And actually, interestingly enough, I have a friend who I recently came to know that said that was really, and in fact, I actually did a video cast series with him. If you're interested, the Meeting Equity video cast series with Barco, sponsored by the ClickShare Group. If you go to meetingequity.com, one of the guests was one of the original employees at WeWork, and he said the docudrama is almost to a T accurate. He said the only thing that was off by it is that it wasn't. He said it was in real life even crazier than what you saw on the TV show. So I can't imagine it being crazier, but great. It's a great show, and I highly recommend people check it out. But we have lots of other things to talk about, Steph. And we could.
Yes, we do. We've just been talking about what we wanted to talk about for 10 minutes, which is fine, today, which is great.
I know. And 2:00 today, so in an hour and 50 minutes, I'll be delivering an Alma webinar the state of the education, avian education. It's an annual thing I do for Alma. If you want to go register, you can go to almaproav.com/education, or you can just go to almaproav.com, click on education, click on webinars and register, or you can click on the link we just popped into all the places that this is. And you can register. It's free, and you get CTS credits, and you don't have to take a test. So if you just kind of hang out in the webinar for an hour, it's actually 45 minutes.
That's cool.
Hang out there for 45 minutes, you get CTS credits, and you'll learn. And I actually show the classroom that we built here, the new building here we built at UNC that officially opened last weekend. I actually went and shot pictures of everything we did there, and I'm going to include that in today's webinar.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Is it recommended for integrators, end users, everybody?
Yeah, it's mostly for integrators or people who do tech in schools.
Okay, so like in-house integrators or tech managers.
Exactly.
Got you. Cool. Well, I hope everyone joins. It sounds like it's going to be very fun. Also, I know you're looking forward to ISE. I'm looking forward to ISE. Like the closer it gets, I'm just getting so excited to fly to Barcelona, and we're going to get to explore this new trade show space. And then we're also going to do a replay ISE 2022 for everyone who can't make it, or for everyone who made it but also wants to check out a lot of the videos we shot, our favorite things on the show floor. It's going to be a great show. So we are going to do 2 versions of it. We have one for our friends in EMEA, and then we have one for everyone over in the States. So it's going to be very cool, very exciting. Gary, are there a few different things that you're looking forward to seeing on the show floor, like either product wise or like experience wise? I know that you're just kind of looking forward to getting back to normal trade show life and just kind of getting that networking into. Is there anything that's like you're most excited for? Are you?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I'm not most excited for wearing a mask for 10-hour flight. Although I will be wearing a mask just because I like the idea of wearing masks on flights now.
The idea of not wearing a mask while flying anymore is just like horrifying to me.
I actually like the mask while flying because I feel like, me, and by the way, everyone take this with a grain of salt because I'm a germaphobe. I'm constantly washing my hands. So I'm a fan of that. I know a lot of people are not, so I'm not looking forward to the long flight, but I'm definitely looking forward to a warm ISE. So I've been going to ISE for 18 years, and every year I'm freezing cold. So I'm looking forward to a warm ISE. I had a video cast yesterday, which we will post later this week, with the managing director of ISE, and a couple of things he told me, stuff that I think you'll find interesting. Currently, registration is 70% of what it was in 2019. So that means that they're expecting the crowd to be somewhere around 70% of what it was, which would mean that we're somewhere around 40,000 people.
Right.
So that'll be interesting to see. He also said that there's 800 active booths. There's normally 12 to 1,300. So the show will be 40% smaller, but still 800 booths is a lot. We're going to have to do a lot of video shooting to cover 800 booths. And then finally, technologically, I don't know that I'm ready to talk about specific products. I know you have a favorite that you're looking forward to, and I want to know about that. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the all-in-one LEDs in person because they've all been introduced since we all shut down, and I see a lot of potential in these all-in-ones being put into a lot of places. And conceptually, all that means is I take the wall processors built into the wall. So just like a 65-inch, LCD, I plug in HDMI cable and the whole thing works. So I'm looking forward to that. But I know you have a favorite specifically that you're looking forward to.
Well, yes. So I am very, very excited to see D10, not only its onboard solution, but I really, really dig D10's booth designs. Even at a smaller, like pared down show like Enterprise Connect, D10 is just really great at being just very, very just intentional about its booth design. Like they have like a clear path they want you to take where you like stop in each part of the path. So I'm looking forward to mostly seeing creative booth designs. And I think that especially like Gary, you and I attended NRF, where we noticed that a lot of the shows were kind of focusing more on vignettes than about like product after product after product after technology. So it's more about like the use case of that technology than the technology itself, I would argue.
Agreed. And I mean, I think you have a great point. And I think the application is going to be a big focus in the future. I think that's why people are going to go to trade shows, is to focus on these sort of applications. And speaking of applications, Shure, who's one of our sponsors, they do a really good job. They have a blog that you should check out. They call it Ignite. Okay, so if you go to the Shure website and then go to the professional products or collaboration products and you click on the Ignite, that's where all their blogs are. They wrote one recently that I want to kind of talk about, Steph.
Yeah, sounds good.
They talk about sort of like how to build the correct HyFlex classroom. And in building a HyFlex classroom, there's more to it than just simply putting a projector and a large screen up at the front of the room. You'll notice in this image, they have the students on accessory screens or ancillary screens around the classroom. In our case, we put those students on the left side, right side, or in the back of our classrooms at UNC. In this case, they put it up front. I think that's better for a meeting environment. But there is something to be said for putting it this way, only because the students in the class can actually see each other as well, not just the professor. And then, of course, they talk a lot about, obviously, they're a microphone company. They talk a lot about the audio issues. And really, honestly, in building any classroom nowadays where you're going to have hybrid or HyFlex students, audio is the biggest issue, the very biggest issue. Having the right microphones, placing them, and maybe even adding more microphones than you expect, but also having the right cameras. They also incorporated Aver into this article and talked about how they have a partnership with them and in cameras, and also how the document cameras got a resurgence because we're now using it to shoot objects so that we can show students remotely what we're showing, because we have it in our hands. And they actually give you some connection diagrams on how to do this. And I commend them for what they've done because in this case, it's not all about Shure products. It's about a lot of the other products that they collaborate with and partners that they have. So check out their blog. It's at Shure, and it's under the section called Ignite.
Very cool. Thanks for chatting about that, Gary. I also wanted to bring up that nominations for our 11th annual rAVe Readers' Choice Awards are now open. So you can go to ravepubs.com. We have it's big featured on the site, so you see it, and then you can click, read the story. We have all the dates in there. So award nominations close May 10th. Voting opens May 12th. Voting closes May 24th. And then we will announce the winners at InfoComm 2022, which is really exciting. So make sure to log on to ravepubs.com and make sure to get those nominations in so you can be sure that people are voting for the things that you wanted to be able to see.
Hey, Steph, I'd like to talk about that for just a second. I'd like to mention one thing. I'm proud of the fact that we have never, during the entire time of this awards program, taken money for any entries or any of the awards. We're the only publication that does awards like this, that we do not take fees to enter the awards or fees to purchase the actual awards themselves. And also, along with that, we're the only publication, to my knowledge, I don't know of another one that does this, or anybody in the industry that does this, that actually has a nomination process where the nominations come from you. We don't just seed the products in the categories. You nominate the products in the categories. We narrow them down to 3, 4, or 5, depending on how big the category is. A category like PTZ cameras is going to probably have more nominations than a category like LEDs. So I'm proud of the fact that we continue to do that. And other publications out there use this as a revenue stream. And in our case, not only do we not charge for this, but we also give really nice awards. I don't have one with me. We should show one sometime, because we give awards that cost us about $150 each to manufacture. So, we actually put some money into this program.
We do. And yeah, I think it's really great. And it's a good way to, if you're a new company out there and you don't, necessarily have the money to pay, but you make a really great product, like this is your chance to win that kind of award. So we want to see those type of nominations as well.
Absolutely. So, Opinion Corner.
So this is where we kind of bring up something of our columnists that they've written each week. And this is Lee Distad. He wrote about how one of his friends has like a small distribution company in once said that the people on his team are either nice guys who don't know anything and like but are great with people, or people who know everything about everything of all the products but like are horrible at talking to people. And he talks about how in a lot of times, like especially in sales or in that kind of area of AV, that's very much how it is, and how you can kind of build a team where people are either that way or like, you know, figuring out how to be both good at people and knowing a lot about the industry and the products. So it's good advice, because you never want to be one or other of those things.
Very true. Very true. And we've all experienced that at some point in time. So,
well, I mean, like, especially if it's someone who has like a lot of background in like distribution, but not necessarily like AV distribution. So they get in here and they're really great at sales and they're really great at talking to people, but they don't know anything about AV. Like, that's difficult. It's difficult to sell what you don't know about. So, you know, it's all about like trying to find that happy medium and that happy balance in the AV industry. So it's a really great article. I highly recommend reading it, and you can on ravepubs.com.
We do appreciate our sponsors greatly. Obviously, Shure is one of our sponsors. We use Shure microphones, as you can see Steph using there. And we appreciate the fact that we have them as a sponsor. They don't tell us to write about any products. We make it clear when we are doing a sponsored message. And we are going to queue up in 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, a sponsored message from our other sponsor, Legrand. So, Steph, tell us about what Legrand wants us to talk about today.
Yeah, sure. So Legrand has a series on Bet You Didn't Know We Had That. And they have their own YouTube playlist that's all about just like things that like you might not have known that Legrand can offer you, and that Legrand has and can help you with, and it's different Middle Atlantic products. So we wanted to just show you the intro really quick, and we will be linking the playlist so you can check it out yourself.
Hey everybody, Pat Kittredge here with Middle Atlantic. This is a video series I'm calling Bet You Didn't Know We Had That. Now you see, Middle Atlantic has so many awesome products, as I'm sure you know. And our product managers and engineers over the last 40 years have put so much time into developing these products just for you. So this video series is dedicated to introducing you to some of the, shall I say, lesser known products, but products that I definitely think you need to know about. So continue to check back in with me as I give you the lowdown on some of the products that I bet you didn't know we had.
I kind of think that that's like genius marketing, because it's like, you know, the things that, you know, maybe like people don't know about, or that like you weren't able to get the, like for some reason the word wasn't gotten out about that. Like they developed this series and now you're going to learn all of these different things that, yeah, like I just think that's like a genius piece of marketing, and very cool and informative for everyone who's looking for different products as well.
Love it. And I think they're very creative. They do a great job with video. I'm very impressed with all that they've done, and they've come a long way with that. And hey, one of the things that you're going to see at ISEA, if you go to ISEA, and you'll definitely see it at Infocom as well, is that the SDVoE, which is the 10 gig version of AV over IP, can do 8K now, and they actually have that as part of their software protocol. So there's a lot of talk about, you know, there's not a lot of 8K stuff, but there's a lot of talk about building systems that are future-proof, and there are going to be applications, in-house broadcast applications, and obviously high-resolution, you know, graphic design, medical imaging applications, things like that, where you're going to need 8K. And I think it's impressive that they're already considering that. Now, they're not the only AV over IP platform that does 8K. Any of the 10 gig platforms can do 8K, but SDVoE is the first one to show it.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about Barco's financial reporting, just because it's really, you know, some positive news for our industry. So they kind of they release a lot of their information, which is really great. They're a public company, right, Gary? So that's how they can release all of that.
Yep. I mean, that's the whole reason why. That's why I think it's interesting, is that it gives you an insight into the industry, because they are a public company that you would not normally get.
Yes. And so basically their like Q1 of 2022 has been the second best quarter since the pandemic began. So it's just kind of, you know, giving some hope to the industry that like, we're slowly but surely building our way back up. Because apparently it's 2021 fourth quarter, so that quarter was like, it's also a really, really good quarter for them in terms of sales. So I'm just like looking forward to things continuing to go well in our industry, kind of like rising from the ashes a bit.
Rising from the ashes of it. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it, definitely.
So I guess the last thing we have to talk about today is Case Study Corner, which is from Sony Electronics Inc. and USC, University of Southern California. So they are partnering because USC's School of Cinematic Arts is like Sony is helping them like enhance cinematic education, which I think is so great because I guess like, I don't know, I guess it's just such a niche area that typically AV like kind of somewhat falls in. I know that like film is just like a very specific industry, but I think it's an important industry. So Sony partnering with them is kind of encouraging more people to go into that industry. I think it's like says a lot.
The USC Film School is famous. It's where George Lucas went, Steven Spielberg went. It's interesting. I think it's very intentional. Number one, they're right down the street. Culver City is right down the street from USC. Number two, their film school has always been sort of like on the cutting edge, and clearly XR sets. I mean, as Megan will tell you, going to NAB are all over the place. If you're not following us on Instagram, you should be, because on Instagram, Megan's been showing a lot of the XR stuff and a lot of the immersive stuff that has been in and around the show. She'll in fact, by the way, we should mention launch code. Madeline was just saying we should mention launch code. If you want to see all the NAB products, go to our, you should subscribe to our launch code newsletter. I'm not even sure how to subscribe to it. I got an email and I subscribe to it. Steph, where do I send them? Do I just send them to launch.com?
Send them to launch.com, and there's a toggle at the top to get you over to launch code. And then on the launch code YouTube, they have all of the things that they have seen and are showing from NAB show as well.
Yeah, so those you should definitely check that out, because XR is a big thing. And if you don't know what XR is, we've talked about it before, but imagine my background being an LED that looks like it's a real background and not being a green screen.
And Sony's got that within its virtual production studio, which they will be building one at USC, which is part of the partnership. And as well,
the B series, I think, too.
Yeah, the Crystal LED B series is like what the backdrop is.
And by the way, the reason why they're doing that, the B series rather than the C series, because you normally say, well, I'd want the highest contrast possible when I'm shooting it on film or on video. I think they're using the B series because one of the features of building a 270-degree studio, meaning it's not 360, it's 270, so that we can put the cameras inside it.
Right.
We can use LED to actually do the lighting. So I think that they needed that brightness level to do the lighting, because we don't have to bring in third-party lighting. We don't have to bring in a lot of that stuff that, when somebody was acting, you'd see that light reflect in their glasses and things. We don't have to deal with that as much anymore, because we can diffuse the light more evenly with an LED. So we're actually lighting the set while we're actually showing the program or the content. So I think that's why they use it. So it is the C-LED B series that they're going to be using, which, by the way, is available for our industry. You can sell the B series and C series for the AV industry. It's not just for theaters.
Very cool. Well, I guess that was, I didn't really think about that, but that was I guess I just hadn't thought about like why they picked one over the other, but that makes a lot of sense. So food for thought. All right, well, everybody, I think that is our show. So Gary and I will see you right here next week. We've got, a fun guest prepared for you guys. And then the week after that, Gary and I guess we'll
live at ISE. We will be at ISE in our short sleeves.
Yes. So we will see you next week, and we'll talk more about ISE then. All right.
And thanks for Madeline for producing this.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.